What's going on, everybody? Welcome to After Prison Show, and judging by the title of this video, you're probably thinking this is going to be pretty crazy. It absolutely will be. Before we go any further with this video, I do want to have a little candid moment with you guys and let you know that today is day 3 of the No Smoky. That's really got Joe feeling like I'm ready to do the hokey pokey. I know that probably didn't sound as funny as it did when I was making it up in my head. Forgive the cringe, but it's the truth. I feel a little deranged. I'm wondering to myself, when will I actually feel normal? Folks, I've eaten more candy in the last 72 hours than a kid right after Halloween. I have eaten more food in the last 72 hours than a pregnant chick. But there is some good news, and it all starts with this shirt that I'm wearing right here. Folks, a little confession to make, and this is actually embarrassing to admit this, but throughout the almost 3 years, or maybe 3 years that I was smoking the ciggies after getting released from prison, I don't know exactly when it started happening, but folks, I used to sweat a lot. And I know that that had something to do with my blood pressure, and my blood pressure probably trickled back to the fact of how much I was smoking. And it's not like my entire body was sweating. It was only the pits. And you know, that was embarrassing and that's nasty. For so long, I would have to wear shirts that would not showcase the sweating that was taking place under my armpits. And folks, I can actually lift my arms up. Yes, there is a little bit of sweat, but nothing in comparison to what it used to be. So even though I'm going absolutely bonkers, I want to go smoke an entire carton of cigarettes all at the same damn time. I think a carton of cigarettes is 200. I could fit all of those between my lips right now. That's how bad I want me a cigarette, but I'm not going to do it because I'm mildly, slowly, but surely starting to see some signs of improvement. But now, with all of that being mentioned, let's go ahead and get into this video, which I've titled How to Violate Your Probation. And the first thing that I want to let you know is this is not a tutorial at all. I am not going to sit here and teach you how to violate your probation because some of you probably already know how to do that well enough. Take it from me, I should know. I most certainly know how to violate and trick up some probation. What I am going to do in this video is I'm going to share with you some of the craziest ways that you can violate your probation. And most all of this is going to circle around one particular term in relation to probation, and that is a technical violation. And boy, oh boy, does old Joe know a thing or two about catching him a tech. We ain't talking about no NBA neither. We ain't talking about no tech foul. We're talking about that good old technical violation. Folks, there ain't nothing better in this world than to be locked up and to have to explain to somebody why you're locked up, and it be because of a funky old technical violation. Boy, they will lock you up for anything. Or at least more so in the past, especially in my heyday when old Joe was young Joe, they definitely did not care about how many people was up in the jails or the prisons or overcrowding or anything like that. They was locking you up for that tech foul. I mean, that technical violation. Ooh, somebody just hit me up about a table and chairs. I haven't sold anything in a while. Is this still available? Yes, it is. Now, folks, the reason I decided to do this video is because I just ran across a headline from the state of North Dakota that says, North Dakota inmates sometimes sent back to prison for technical reasons. Boy, it almost sounds like they was trying to be a little funny right there, talking about some technical reasons or technical difficulties. What the story would go on to say, without breaking down the entirety of it, is like every year they do a census of how many people are getting locked back up in relation to recidivism, which means when you get locked up, you come home and then you get locked back up again. That's recidivism. There's a recidivism rate. And a lot of states are trying to get that to be lower. They want people who get locked up to not return back to prison. But with this story from North Dakota was talking about is that in relation to recidivism, one thing that leads to it is technical violations of probation. And for those of you who don't know what a technical violation is, a technical violation basically refers to the conditions that are a part of your probation, the things that you are to adhere to while on probation, the do's and the don'ts. And anytime, in any state, under any condition, anytime that you are ordered to complete probation, when you go to that probation office for the very first time, one of the very first things that you're gonna do is you are basically gonna sign your life away. And what I hold in my hand right here are 2 sheets of paper. I'm gonna put them up on the screen right now. That way you guys can see them, because you wouldn't be able to see them as I'm holding them right here. But what these are the do's and don'ts while on probation. These are your conditions. And if we flip to page number 2, at the bottom of it, it says, by signing the reverse side of this form, you acknowledge that you have read and understand all of the information contained in this document, and by signing that, if you in any way, shape, or form do not adhere to the things that are listed on this piece of paper, your ass is going back to prison for what is referred to as a technical violation. So let's go ahead and run through these 13 conditions real quick. I got these from Garfield Heights Municipal Court, that's in Ohio. These are basically the same in every state, unless you got some bad charges. Then that list of conditions that you got when you got to register, and I ain't talking about for voting neither when you get released. Oh, that list of conditions is like 5 pages long. I really wanted to do a video about that, but I couldn't because this is YouTube. So we're going to run through these standard conditions of probation real quick. It starts off by saying you have been placed on probation as a condition of a suspended jail sentence in this court. I don't know why I'm reading this with such an angry face, but when I read this, I feel like you have to read this with an angry face. I can still taste the nicotine on my lips from 3 days ago. Probation is not a right. It's a privilege. The following constitute violations of community control sanctions, which may result in the reinstatement of the original sentence. Breaking that down into layman terms, if you mess up any of these, you know where you're going. You're going right back to where you don't want to go, to where you don't want to be telling somebody, yeah, man, they locked me up for a tech foul. They locked me up for a tech. They about to give me all my time back. And that is actually something that could happen. When you violate, no matter how you do so, whether it's through a technical violation, which would be not adhering to one of these things that we're getting ready to talk about, or by the worser way, which is bringing back new charges, whatever suspended time that you got when you went to court and also got probation, all of that time can then be given to you. And you could end up having to serve any or all of that time in prison. Let that be scary. For any of you young little whippersnappers, now that they stopped Fortnite, I actually think that they brought it right back. I can't stand that game. You know, I was worried about that. When Fortnite went away, I was like, man, what are kids gonna do now? They're gonna be forced to have to go outside. And they might go out there and try to play Fortnite in real life. There ain't no such thing as a battle royale out here in real life. There's not. They also say this could result in jail time, fines, and court costs. Number 1, reporting. You shall report on the date and time specified. You shall treat all probation officers and court personnel courteously. Wow, there's a lot that they say in those 2 sentences right there. You could end up going back to jail if you miss an appointment. If you've got to be at your probation office on Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. and you don't show up, boy, they getting their little murder she wrote typewriter out, feeding the paper through it. Mr. Johnson did not report to come see me. Violated. See you later. If you don't report and you miss an appointment and you don't got a valid excuse for why you missed an appointment and you try to tell them people your dog ate your bus pass, your ass is going back to jail and possibly prison as well. And they also say that you got to treat all the probation officers and court personnel courteously. Well, what if you don't? What if you don't like the person or your probation officer or the receptionist? You know how many nasty individuals, I'm not talking about bad hygiene, I'm talking about attitude. Yes, Mr. Guerrero here to see. Can't you see I'm busy? Wait, and I will speak to you in a moment. Hey, what the f? No matter how you get treated, you better treat them people with some courtesy. Or they could give you a technical violation for that. Can you imagine getting locked up and somebody asking you what you're locked up for and you say, man, I got locked up because I didn't say excuse me in the probation office. They gave me 5 years for that, for not being courteous. Shit's real when you're on probation. Number 2, laws and conduct. You shall not violate any federal, state, or local laws. You must notify the probation department within 72 hours of being arrested, summoned, or cited for any violation of the law. This one speaks to me on such a level because I can't tell you how many times while I was on probation that I caught additional charges. And you know, or had run-ins with the police, or ran from the police, and you're wondering like, damn, do I go see the PO, or do they know who I am already? Will the police be waiting there in the office to arrest me? I've had that happen many a time. Many a time, Joe's been scared to go see a probation officer because I done did something that I'm not exactly sure they know it was me or not. And in most of the cases, I'm talking about running from the police. But there ain't nothing like that. You got 72 hours to tell your PO what happened. And most of the times, if you go ahead and you catch you some new charges, ain't nobody worried about that 72 hours. You've basically got a 72-hour window to get the hell out of Dodge. Number 3, intoxicants. You shall not use alcohol, illegal drugs, or any substance of abuse. You cannot be any place that serves alcohol. Now, this is definitely different strokes for different folks. I've been on probation where they do not really care if you go to a bar, if you're doing some drinking, but I guess in most cases, actually, I say that, but I don't think they really ever enforced it. I'm quite sure this is on all of the standard conditions of probation, but I've seen people get jammed up. You know, I'll be honest with you. I can't tell you about that. That was crazy. There was a time not too long ago, it was a couple of years ago, where somebody on AfterPrisonShow almost got jammed up because of a video that we did, a celebration video. And, you know, they thought this individual was drinking. Very, very crazy situation. But I will go ahead and completely sweep that under the rug by sharing this story with you guys. This one time while I was on probation, actually I told this story not too long ago, but this is the conclusion of what happened. Y'all remember when I told y'all I had that crazy ex-girlfriend who called the probation office and told them that I was doing all sorts of no good stuff out in the free world, robbing people, selling drugs, doing drugs? Well, when she went to clean all of that up, this is the craziest conclusion in the world, because legitimately I was doing drugs. I said that I was doing some of what she said, not all of it. The only thing that I was doing was I was doing the drugs, probably trying to sell some drugs, but you can't do them and sell them at the same time. That doesn't mix. That's like trying to take two magnets on the negative side and trying to push them together. All they're gonna do is push apart, dropping some straight logic on you guys. But what ended up happening in conclusion to all of that was that the girl would tell the probation officer, hey, look, you know, I lied about all of that, but the truth of the matter is he's got a drinking problem. Oh boy, this was the craziest thing in the world, because what would end up happening is the probation officer would believe this for whatever reason. So I would go see my PO. You know, back in the day, Joe weren't no good at all. And I mean, I'm not even proud to admit this. It's so crazy to tell you all this, but I would go to see my PO with no fear at all, completely dirty. I'm dirty like a piece of used tissue paper in the bathroom, that dirty, if they were to try to test me. I knew that they wouldn't, because the probation officer didn't believe that I was using. Now, don't get me wrong. I could have went in there and gotten a surprise test. That very easily could have happened. I would go in there and be so dirty. I'm talking about dirty like under your shoes. And all they would do is give me a breathalyzer. You know, I gotta be honest with you. You got a real drinking problem if you're gonna go up into the probation office drunk. At that point, you really need you some help. And I never had nothing to worry about. Never was ever gonna be me going up in the PO's office worrying about blowing something drunk, or at least registering like I had been drinking prior to me going up in there. But get caught in a bar. You know, what happens if you're on probation and one of your stipulations, something they're really pressing, is the drinking issue? Let's just say hypothetically, you're out, it's Friday night, you just got paid, you're out in the bar, you're in a strip club. You're in an all-men strip club, and you bump into your male I'm just trying to throw in as much like craziness to this scenario, this possible scenario. Let's just say you're out one night, you just got paid Friday night, you're in an all-male strip club, and you bump into your male probation officer. Boom. Hey, Mr. Gonzalez, what are you doing in here? What are you doing in here? It's Friday night and the probation office is closed, but I can guarantee you one thing, your ass is violated already. And you better not tell anybody you saw me in here neither. I wonder how all of that would play out. Probably would end with a violation. Just my thoughts. Number 4, residence. You shall notify the probation department in writing of your current address and phone number and any changes to these. A lot of individuals got them track phones, prepaid phones. A lot of people struggle to pay their phone bills. You mean to tell me if your phone gets cut off, you could get violated? Let me tell you something. You absolutely can. If the probation does not know where you are living at, and they do not know how to get in contact with you and or, either one of those things, that could result in a technical violation. Again, ask yourself, could you imagine being locked up and having to tell somebody, hey, so what did you say you was locked up for again? Yeah, man, I didn't mean to do it. I didn't do it. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. They got the wrong guy. My phone got cut off. That girl cut my phone off because she thought I was messing around with somebody else. She cut my phone off and they violated me because my PO tried to call and the phone was disconnected. It is legitimately scary being on probation. And also thinking about the fact that they can lock you up for all sorts of different technical reasons. Number 5, special conditions. My God, they just threw in an audible right here. You shall timely and successfully complete any programs in which you are ordered to enroll. Drug treatment programs. Some guys have to go and attend AA, NA, guys or gals. And if you don't attend those meetings because you're working or you don't have a ride, it doesn't matter. You better walk 10 miles to the nearest church where they doing that at, or you could get violated. And you got to get a signed piece of paper saying that you were there. Number 6, urinalysis / breath test. You shall submit to drug or alcohol test at any time. And I like how they put in any time. Now, it probably goes without saying to know, if you refuse a pee test or a breath test, you can get violated. But let's just say they show up at your house. They're doing a home visit, and they bring that cup with them. They're going to ask you to take that test right there in the privacy of your own home and let you refuse to take that. One thing that I used to try to do, this is probably not even worth mentioning, but I'm going to anyways, is, back when Joe was up to no good, I couldn't wait to go see the PO. Because as soon as I seen him, that night, that next day, for the next couple of days, it was party time. But I've also been tricked up that way as well, thinking that I had all the sense. Went and saw the probation. That night, next couple of days, I'm out there up to no good at all using, and the PO would call me, telling me that I had won a prize at the probation office. Mr. Guerrero, you were lucky caller number 10. We're going to need you to come down here and take this urinalysis. I know you just saw me 2 days ago. This is one of those surprise tests. Let me tell you what I did. First, I tried to act like I could not get there at all. I'm sorry, I've got no car at all. I don't drive. You know I don't drive. Well, you know that I drive without a license. You told me don't ever do that again. Get some bus tickets. Look, I've got no ride at all to get down there. They told me I absolutely better find a way. That's what they told me. You better find a way. You better be here by 4:30 this afternoon, and if you're not, just don't show up and see what happens. You already know what's going to happen. You're used to this. It starts with a V and ends with elated. So I tried to talk my way out of the situation. That didn't work. The next best thing that I thought to do was to eat these niacin pills. And niacin is supposed to burn the toxins out of your body. And if you take this at all, it is the most uncomfortable feeling in the world. It feels like your flesh is legitimately on fire, and then it becomes super itchy. You break out in hives. So I went and got these niacin pills because I did have a ride. I had a ride to get the GNC to get those pills. And I ate a boatload of these things. I think I ate 10 or more of these pills. And I knew that that was such a bad idea. So I ate these pills, and I am in excruciating pain. I felt like the damn fireman. At least I felt like I was on fire. That's what I felt like. It was so painful. And I'm chugging water because I'm so thirsty. I feel like my entire insides are just ablaze. So my dumb ass would go down to the probation office looking like I'm completely broken out in hives. Well, I'm sitting in the lobby waiting. I'm uncomfortable. I can't sit still. I'm looking like a complete fiend out person at this point, scratching, itching. Boy, I'm all to pieces. They called my name in there, and it was do or die right then and there. And I did what I felt like I had to do. I just admitted that I had been smoking the devil's lettuce. And back then, that was a big deal. They treated that stuff like it was a hard drug. Oh, you've been smoking some herb. Shoot. How's 5 years in prison sound? Not good? Well, that's where you're going. I had to sit in there completely on fire. Couldn't even sit. I had to sit on one cheek. I was messed up. And have to admit to this person that I was dirty and I couldn't take the test. I went through the entire excruciating pain of the niacin for no reason at all. So don't consent to a test if you want to. It's not going to end good for you. Number 7, protection orders. You shall comply with any protection orders issued. If you've got a no mix list, if you've got a restraining order put on you, don't get caught around that person you ain't supposed to be around, or you are going to get violated. Even if that person wants to be around you, some chicks are crazy. They will put a restraining order on you 1 minute and then want to marry you the next. Number 8, fines and restitutions. You shall pay all fines, cost, and restitution in the court according to any court orders, agreements, and schedules made with the courts. And if you fail to do so, you're going to jail. Don't matter if you lost your job. Don't matter if you're behind on your rent. You better have that money, or you know what's going to happen. Number 9, very important one right here. We've talked about this before, but it's so important that we bring this up again. Search. One word. And they say you shall submit to being stopped and searched of your person, meaning they can pat you down, they can strip search, cavity search, they do whatever they want to, or your vehicle or place of residence. Shake down at your own damn house. Thought you got away from them when you got released. No, you didn't. Not if you're on probation, you didn't. By the probation or law enforcement officer without probable cause while on probation. You ever been through that? You ever been on probation and they show up at your house to do a home visit, and then they ask to look around? And they ain't just looking around. They can open drawers. Wow. Is that yours? Or is that your old lady's? Why does she need that? That was the sound of the drawer closing. You want to talk about an invasion of privacy? Try being on probation. There ain't no privacy on that. Number 10, weapons. Goes without saying. You shall not possess or be in control of any firearms or deadly weapons. That's an easy one. Number 11, travel. You should obtain permission from the probation department for any out-of-state travel. Permission may be sought by sending a written request to the probation department at least 14 days prior to beginning travel. The probation office will notify you if your request has been granted, folks. They can deny it for nothing. I remember many a times on probation trying to get permission to be able to travel, and that being the biggest pain in the ass ever. They tell you it'll take a week, 14 days. It is the day that you are getting ready to leave. You were supposed to leave. Plane tickets have been bought, and you are chasing down a probation officer who forgot to put in this request for a pass, and the probation manager is not even in. You know, getting denied for travel when you're out trying to do the right thing is enough for you to just say, forget probation. I've said it plenty of times. And if you do decide to travel without getting prior consent and you get caught out of state, pulled over, they run your name, that name blick ups inside of that probation database computer that gets a notification like a Facebook notification anytime your name gets rammed by the police. Doesn't even matter if you get a charge or not. Let your name pop up out of state and you ain't got permission to be there. That's a big violation right there. That's an absconding, one of the worst types of technical violations you can get. Actually, it probably is the worst technical violation. When probation does not know where you were at, you're going down. Number 12, identification. You shall have a state-issued picture ID in your possession at all probation appointments, drug and alcohol test, or court-ordered treatment sessions. You shall submit to having a photo taken by the probation department for the probation file. They're definitely going to take a picture of you. They're going to take a picture of you, all of your tattoos, possibly where you live, maybe even of your boss. I'm really throwing in a lot of things that they don't really do. They're definitely going to take pictures of your tattoos, though. And don't think you're going to go dyeing your hair while you're on probation neither. That might get you violated. Oh boy, you was trying to change your appearance. Was you getting ready to run? Go ahead, put the handcuffs on and you ain't going nowhere. They'll be here to get you soon enough. You know, another thing, ain't nothing like being in the probation office and seeing somebody getting taken out in the cuffs. Going to probation, whether you're right or wrong or clean or dirty, you're going to have the bubble guts no matter what, because a lot of times, almost all the time, you don't honestly know if you're going to be coming out of that thing without handcuffs on, at least. Number 13, employment. You shall maintain employment. If unemployed, you shall seek employment or provide documents as to disability. You must notify your probation officer of any change in employment status. You know, let's just throw out a major what if. Let's just say hypothetically, what if? You know, you work in one job, you're working at Wendy's, and the job of a lifetime presents itself to you. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to go from Wendy's to a Fortune 500 company, but you got to take that job right then and there. Let's say you take the job. Let's say you get a better job. You didn't notify your probation officer first, and you got a real by-the-book boiled egg. You got a guy that is trying to be the CEO of probation and parole. That could get you violated. But in most cases, that won't. You know, employment is a big thing. What if you get released from prison and you can't find a job? You mean to tell me they could lock you back up for that? Well, Tom, you've been out here for 3 weeks now. You haven't been able to find a job. You say you've been looking every single day. You just seem to be unemployable. Maybe you should go back to prison where you could get you a 27 cents an hour prison job. No? Well, I've already written the word violated down right here, so good day to you, sir. They'll meet you at the door with the handcuffs. Folks, all of these things that I've shared with you right here are things that could lead to a technical violation. Things that could lead, except for the weapons thing. You know, they say you shouldn't possess any weapons. If you get caught with a weapon while you're on probation, there's a good chance that you are already a felon. You don't have to be a felon to be on probation, but you know, if you get caught with a weapon, chances are you already got some other charges coming with it. But almost all of these other things are grounds and conditions that could lead to you catching you a technical violation. And one final thing real quick to throw into this is underneath number 13, there is an unnumbered line that just simply says other, where the probation can write in anything that they want to write in. Will not wear a New England Patriots jersey anytime coming to see me. Don't follow through with that other if you want to, and that could lead to a violation as well. Folks, by signing this, you better do what they're saying on here. A lot of this may seem like it's unfair. A lot of this may seem like it's making things harder for an individual coming home from prison. But this is what they require you to do. And in a lot of cases in life, things ain't fair. You got to do what you got to do to get where you want to be. And if you want to be free, you better not mess up any of these conditions of probation. Hey, look, that's it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please leave a like and a comment letting me know exactly what you thought about this. As always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted, and make the most of every day. Peace! Well, I thought I was stopping sweating, but it's come right back to me.